having to do this voice recording apology because while I'm editing this video, I have discovered that at some point while I've been uploading my videos, I have inadvertently deleted all of my wide shots for the dessert. It was already bad enough that I lost my wide shot camera when cooking the main meal, but I was able to compensate for that accordingly. However, I have lost the wide shots for this video. Hopefully, of the video footage I do have, which is all the close-up stuff, you should still be able to work out the dessert and how to make it. If you would like me to redo the video, I will. Comment down below or just give it a like. And again, exceptionally sorry. I'm not 100% sure when it happened because I could have sworn I had all the video footage, but yeah, I've come to edit all together now and it's gone. So, and there's very little I can do about it, but hopefully what I have should still work. Thanks.
Okay, hi guys. So I am presently making the dessert for this video, mainly because it needs time to set. So yeah, best to get it started the night before so everything is done. I'm going to start with making the salted caramel sauce. So first thing you want to do is you want to turn on your hob and then switch it to a low heat, so you'll probably not be able to see, even if oh no, you can just see the height of my flames there. So just got to let the pan heat up just a little bit, and then I'm going to add 80 grams of butter. There we go. Then I will be adding, get this right, 250 grams of light brown sugar. You can use a darker brown sugar if you want a slightly darker sauce. I only have light brown, so working with what we got. Put that into the pan, like so. And now I need a spoon, like so. Just move the butter. So once you've got the butter and the sugar in the pan, I want to mix it as the butter melts. And just mix it in like so. You might want to squish the butter. Also, I would advise room temperature butter, because cold butter, it can take a little while to melt down because it's quite cold, but if it's room temperature, it should start to melt pretty quick. I say that, it's taken a while. Oh goodness me. Right. And an important thing to note as well, when you're working with sugar in a hot pan, do not take your eyes off it for too long, otherwise it will burn. And speaking from experience, you really don't want burnt sugar smell in your kitchen. I learned that one through trial and error. Granted, I was about 12, I think, at the time when I first tried to make a delicious toffee sauce. Foolishly just put sugar, butter in a microwave in a plastic bowl. The plastic bowl did not survive. So yeah, definitely work with a pan and definitely don't take your eyes on it, and probably don't do it in a microwave. Yeah, that's probably the best advice I can give you. So, we're just fine in the melting. We're getting a sort of goldeny paste with the odd lump of yellow. I'm gonna melt that down. There we go. Getting nice and thing. What I'll do is I'll bring it over to this can. So this is what it looks like. Kind of looks a bit like applesauce. Oh. And then you're gonna want to keep stirring it until it gets a little bit more liquidy. I will show you again once it's where it needs to be. Oh, tell you what, work out the muscles in your wrist. Ow. I think you do that with baking in general, to be honest. Right. I'll leave that to stand, but I am literally, like I said, I'm not leaving it. I'm standing over it. Because it's insane how fast it could all go wrong. So, whew. Hopefully you won't have to wait too long. I mean, I could like maybe turn the heat up a smidge. Feel a little confident in myself to turn it up a bit. So there we go. There we go. Now there are different methods for melting sugar down for like caramel syrups and stuff. There's a dry method which kind of just requires you to put sugar in and cook it till the sugar melts fully, but I won't lie, I read that I read that method and kind of went, no. I definitely believe that it would burn on me. So there's definitely different ways to do it, but yeah, I prefer the wet method, which is where you add either like water, butter or cream. In this case we're going with butter, and I think it's a pretty good consistency. I'll just bring it back over, get it into the camera, sort of that sort of consistency, what you're looking for. Put that back on the hob, and then you take your 300 ml, get that in there. Sorry, I have really bad like left and right skills. 300 ml carton of milk, cream even. Gosh, beware of the carton spitting at you when you open it. It does that to me all the time. And then you are going to take your cream and you're going to pour it into your sugar butter mixture, like so. And then I'm gonna just make sure my workspace is clean, and then you're gonna mix it in. Oh, don't you dare. Be wary of spillages. They will happen. I'm trying not to have it happen, so just because this isn't my kitchen, it's my brother and his girlfriend's, so I don't think they'd appreciate me leaving it a mess. Not that I would, I'd totally clean up after this. But yeah, so you just keep mixing it until it is fully incorporated. I'd like to point out, if I stutter or stumble at any point, it's because I'm not a chef. I'm literally doing this for the love of it, and also I forget my train of thought so easily. Swear to gosh. I am, well, let's just say I have all the attention span of a budgie, as my sister-in-law likes to joke. That was my usual quote there. I'm not a budgie. Sorry. That's another thing I tend to do. I tend to randomly start quoting films and TV shows. It's actually a family habit. We all do it. Haha. We are getting somewhere with the sauce. It's starting to incorporate now. So it's sort of gone like, oh, how to describe it? It's quite goldeny. It looks really nice. Let's just say that. So I will bring it over. I've got to be really, really careful because I really don't want to spill this on my laptop, which is presently doing the close-ups for me. So hopefully you can see. Really don't want to tilt it too much. So yeah, it's sort of a nice, almost like a honey colour, like a set honey. The cloudy honey you can get, that's the right one. The cloudy honey you can get from the store, along with like the clear honey. So I quite like set honey. It spreads on toast a lot easier, and yeah, it's also easier to transport to a cup of tea to sweeten it. Runny honey gets everywhere, and it's real sticky and gross. So, that's so good. It's not even finished, but it's already so good. Okay, so now that I've got it fully incorporated, I'm going to make sure I've got the right hob. Turn the heat up high for like 2-3 minutes. It should start to bubble and start to go a bit of a darker brown, sort of full of caramel coloured. So if I've done it right. The whole point of caramel sauce. I hope that I have actually told you I'm making the caramel sauce for the dessert at the beginning of this video. Like I said, forget my train of thought, forget my head if it was loose. It's insane. Oh. So obviously we will be adding salt. So, but obviously, I keep saying obviously, it might not be obvious, but God, I sound like my granddad then. But yeah, so I'd like to point out this isn't like a formal cooking show. This is just me being me. Not overly formal, like I said. Chatty, tell you some stories, try to behave my language, all that sort of thing. Okay, let's let that sit for like a second. I'm watching you. Don't you go burning over me then. Right. Salt. Which is the salt? What's the pepper? Oh, hang on. It's here. Do I have a teaspoon? Yes, I do. It is here. I knew I got one. So, when you come to put the salt in, if, like myself, you've used salted butter, I should have specified that. Salted butter, you might want to put less salt in, just because. If I'm not mistaken, usually if I use unsalted butter, I put half a teaspoon in, so I think for salted butter, put, hang on, bear with, I've got to do some maths. So, you do half, quarter, be like a quarter of a teaspoon. So, probably better to do it over here. Half would be there, so I would advise like quarter belly tip, like that. So, ooh, starting to get like a skin on it, like a foam. Oh, it looks so nice. I'm deeply proud of myself for not burning it yet. Oh, you gotta take the little things in life, you know? Little victories. Yeah, I'd also alternate how you stir it, so like do some circular ones around the edge of the pan, just to get anything that could potentially, get the word out right, potentially get stuck to the side of the pan, but also do some sort of fanning movements like that. See, my salted caramel sauce is probably going to be quite light because I use light brown sugar. I think probably for a darker colour you'll want like no, I think I use Demerara. Oh, starting to bubble over. Oh, danger zone, danger zone. Whew. Down. Right. Now that we've avoided catastrophe, no we haven't. No we haven't. Bear with. So, sorry if there's a bit of a jump there in the video. Had a bit of a catastrophe. The pan boiled over. So, it's okay. I cleaned up. The sauce is still fine, no burning. It's just about the right consistency now to add the salt. So I've taken it off the heat, naturally. Just fair warning, either use a bigger pan or maybe turn the heat down when it starts to froth, because I think that's where I went wrong. But you know what? I make these mistakes so you don't have to. So, now we're going to add the salt. And like I said, because I use salted butter, I'm only putting in 1/4 teaspoon. But if you used unsalted, I would advise the full half. Although I'd still maybe taste test, because some people like it a little saltier than others. Some like it less salty. Yeah. Okay. Right, well, my measurement skills are pants. Yeah, that's how much salt I'm using. Not a lot. Pop in. So, and then just mix it in. For a few seconds, half a minute maybe. Good mixeroo. Now, like I said, my sauce is actually quite yellowy golden. I will show you. Hopefully you'll see. Get it in the right place. So it's quite yellowy, very buttery coloured. Yeah. I think that's primarily because I used a lighter brown sugar. So, I mean, just check one thing. Ow. One thing to check is that it's not grainy. That means salt hasn't all... Sugar hasn't all dissolved, as the salt should. Although, arguably, add a little bit more. Just to counteract the sweetness. Me personally, I do like my salted caramel quite salty. Not too salty, but quite salty. Whisked movement. Obviously, I'm using a little spoon now whisk. And also, use wooden spoon, not metal or anything like that, because the heat of the pan, the heat of the sugar will heat up the metal, and if you touch it, you can burn yourself. You don't want to do that. Really don't. I burned myself. It's okay now, it's just a sort of scar now. I burned myself making bacon. It was worth it. I'd do it all over again. Although one thing I am interested in trying to make is candied bacon. I'm fascinated. You basically like cook up some bacon and sort of pat out the moisture, and then you cover it in brown sugar and cook it. And you can like put it in muffins and stuff. I saw it on Sugar Rush Netflix. It was really cool. I was like, wow, bacon can go in everything. That is perfect. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. So now, ooh, don't flick. So now what you're gonna do is, now that's ready, I'm gonna put this to soak because I don't want it to get all gooey and gross. What you do now with the sauce is you put it to one side for 10-20 minutes, maybe, until it's cool, because one, any excess you're going to want to stick in a jar for later, and two, well, you're going to be putting butter and biscuits together for the base, and obviously if that's too hot it could melt the butter and mess up the consistency of your base and just sort of absorb into your base, which you do not want. No one wants it. You want a nice layer. So I'm now going to put the salt away and get on with the next part of the video. Now that I've got my rolling pin, well, not my rolling pin, brother's girlfriend's rolling pin, I can now carry on with the next bit. Put that teaspoon to soak as well. So, since the jars we're using, I shouldn't really lean like that. Since the jars we're using are only that big, these are all GU dessert jars. Recycle, guys, recycle. Since they're not that big, you don't need too much. The way I decided how many biscuits I would need, and I may be wrong, I will let you know, is I just put 2 biscuits in the jar and saw how high they came up to. I figured once that's spread out with some butter, that should be fine. So you wanna put 4 bickies in a little ziplocky bag, and you might want to move them out the way. Oh, get an itchy nose right when you don't know. Right. Okay. Right, and then you just want to spit it out. Give it a bash. If it helps, imagine it's someone you really don't like. There we go. Now you want these bickies smashed up quite finely, almost like sand. There we go. Oh, itchy nose, go away. So there's that, and then let this out. I would probably say, so this is about roughly the same size as the 8 grams, so 40. Actually, we'll go for the smaller one. I haven't weighed this out purely because I've done weighing out of butter and melting it to make a biscuit base, and always found that it was either too much or too little, so I kind of play it by ear. So in this case, I'm going for the smaller bit. If I need some more, I have more butter. clean. Right, I'm just going to microwave this. Probably, I'd advise maybe 30-second increments. So, just open the microwave, and then press that. Oh, the microwave I'm using is 700 watts. So, if you have a higher wattage, like 800, probably do less time than I do. But if you've got the same, you should be fine. If you've got a lower one, do it for a little longer. Kind of adds up. Right. Okay. So another 30 seconds. So on a 700 watt. Oh no. Correction. There we go. So on a 700 watt, 35 seconds. If you can be that precise. Mix it around. Just give it a little swirl. Let the molten butter melt what butter solids are left. There we go. There we go. All nice and melted. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our jars like so. Open our little freezer baggie. And we're going to pour the biscuit in the bottom. And then we're going to, see, that's not fully, there we go. Okay, now we're going to pour, I'm going to try and taper the edge like that so that it pours better. Ooh, interesting. I actually have a, no, I can squeeze a bit more Vicky because I can still see the bottom of the glass. Some more Vicky in there. There we go. My Vicky is done. So, hands are clean, just wash them. Just, if you're not comfortable using your fingers, by all means, use a spoon, but I'm making these for me and my mum, and my hands are clean, so. If you've noticed, when my nose itches, I'm trying to do that instead. So, there we go, they're about thing. And then I'm going to pour the butter. Pour it in. Okay, and pour the butter. Pour it in. And I'm going to find, if I can, a little teaspoon. Water. Right, just go get my towel. Oh, what? Oh, no. Oh, there we go. And then I'm just going to move that out of your way. I'm just going to pat it down, make sure it's okay. I'm going to move some butter around inside it just to make sure everything is clear, and then I'm going to properly mix it, so be like this, because obviously you want every crumb to be sort of coated, and then just smooth it back down into place like so. done. So it looks like that. I'm going to do the same with the other one, which arguably does have a little bit more butter in it than I'd like. Should be alright. If needs be. I will have this one. I like butter. So, I mean, my mum likes butter as well, but we'll see. So, there we go. So they're both done. So, we're going to pop these in the fridge. I would probably say check on them after 10 minutes. If not, leave them another 10 and you're just waiting for them to get a little firm. In fact, I am actually going to scoop out a little of this excess butter. Because arguably we don't want too much butter. There we go. That's a bit better. Because it might take a little while longer to set otherwise. So, like I said, check them after 10 minutes. If not, leave them another 10. You're basically looking for them to be solid before you put your caramel sauce on. By which point, to be fair, your caramel sauce should be pretty cool and ready to go on anyway. So. It's fine. I've just realised I just put my spoon for washing. It's all good. Still a bit warm. I'm gonna leave it for another 10 minutes. Because obviously putting it into a jar, it's not hot enough, I believe, to crack it or anything, but I like to weigh in on the safe side. So I'm gonna let that cool a little bit longer, and then once the bases are set, the sauce is set, not set, cooled, and in the jar, we will be moving on to making the chocolate part of the chocolate torte, which is pretty simple, to be honest. Shouldn't be too difficult, but obviously we'll be showing you how. I think probably the most difficult part is going to be getting it into the jars without creating a colossal mess. But we'll see how it goes. So, I'm gonna go wait for everything to set, and once they are, I will be back with you to continue the rest. Okay, so we are back, and my bases are set, so I'll just go get them. So, as you can see, set. As you can see, they do have a bit of a buttery film to them. I did put a little bit too much butter in, arguably, but with a teaspoon, you can just sort of maybe scrape some of it off. No, it's very set. It's if you have the buttery sort of scum on top, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, maybe try and put a little less butter than I did. So I put about 40 grams of butter melted into it. So maybe go for about 30. It probably would be a bit better, but I like things kind of buttery, so it's not too big a deal. So the sauce is nice and cool. Giving it a taste test. Delish. So what we're going to do is, I've got a pan with a spout. Just going to pour. Gently does it. There we go. A layer of sauce, like so. And do the same on this side. Oh, there we go. I loved it. So, just give it a little tap, just to settle it. So they got the same amount, roughly. So, what you're going to do with them is you're going to put these back in the fridge while we do the next few bits. So hopefully they will set while we do the next bit, which you are going to need marshmallows and I'd say roughly a bar of chocolate. This is 100 grams of chocolate. Never mind the Aldi. You can buy your chocolate from anywhere. I just happen to buy mine from Aldi. So what you're going to need, what you're going to firstly do, should I say, is if, like me, the only marshmallows you could get were pink and white, maybe try and separate as many of the white ones out as you can, but, you know, a couple of pink ones in, it's not really going to matter. But, actually, the pink ones are quite pale, so I don't see them making much of a colour change to the white chocolate. So I'd say you'd need about 8 or 10. I think I'm going to go with 10. Actually, no, I'll go with 8. So, plenty of marshmallows spare for anything else. Some hot cocoa. Still wintry, so you can get away with it. Oh, right. Then you're going to open up your bar of chocolate. Oh no, it's broken. Oh well, should be fine. Discard the wrapper in the bin. And then you're going to take a knife. Be very careful. You do not wish to chop your fingers off. So you're just going to lightly, well, thinly, not lightly, thinly chop the chocolate. If you get a little thicker, it doesn't matter, but I find it just helps the chocolate melt a little quicker. Try, be careful with your fingers. And then go for this bar. So, I do find this is a lot faster than grating it, to be fair. You could grate it if you wanted to. I just feel I can cut it faster than I can grate it. Be really careful with your fingers. There we go. So I am going to finish cutting the rest of this and then I will come back to you. Once you've got all your chocolate nicely diced, you can do that. Make it into finer chips. There you go. So once it's all like this, you're gonna take your chocolate like so. You're gonna pour it. Well, not pour it, but place it into your tub, like so. Ooh. And then you are going to put this in the microwave, and again, melt it in increments over 30 seconds. It's easier to control. And I'd say every 30 seconds, when it pings, give it a little stir. Then again. Oh, also make sure it's in a microwavable safe tub, which this is. It's got a little diagram of a microwave on the bottom of it. While my chocolate does its last 30 seconds, should also remind you, any leftover sauce, pour into a jar for future use. I'd advise to use it all within about 10 days. That'll be my chocolate. I say that because my brother makes a sticky toffee sauce and that lasts about 10 days and it's roughly the same recipe. Only his has dates in it because obviously it's sticky toffee. So, there we go. Clean my jar off. But yeah, I'd say roughly should last you about 10 days. Keep it refrigerated. Also, if you've noticed it's getting light behind me, this is actually the next morning. I've redone my makeup, so not to offend you with my zombie morning face. And I'm also wearing this again because I've already got like a bit of sauce on it from when it boiled over, so it saves me getting other clothes dirty. But yeah, we had a power out, so having to do it now. So, but it was mainly pretty much done. So technically my bases have been in the fridge overnight, but they were set after about, say about 30 minutes. So should be good to go after that time. Once your chocolate's nice and molten, like so, you can put your marshmallows on it. Just doing it a little spaced out, like so. And then I'm going to pop this back in the microwave for probably another minute, but obviously doing it in 30 increments again, 30-second increments again. Marshmallows don't take too much time to melt, that's the word. So I'd say a minute, 30 increments should be fine. Okay, so correction on my previous statement, 30 seconds was all it took, and now I'm going to mix in chocolate onto the marshmallow, like so. Mix it all in nice and good. thinking, just cause it is a little bit on the gooey side. I'm just gonna add a little drizzle of cream. Just to loosen it up a little bit because it has arguably gone gelatinous. I think perhaps I could have gone with maybe 6 marshmallows. Ah, yeah, there we go. It's like baking a cake. If it goes a little bit too dry when you add in the flour, you just add a little bit of moisture. So I've maybe added, let's see, 50 mils of cream just to cream on me. Loosen up the mixture a bit. So, like I said, things go wrong, there's always a way to rectify it, unless it's gone disastrously wrong, at which point you might have a little difficulty. But arguably, like I said, this is an easy fix. It's just a little bit of cream to add some moisture. Just peel the residual bit of marshmallow off the spoon so I can incorporate it in. Okay, there we go. So, as you can see, it's quite sticky, but it's still quite runny as well at the same time. So, it's perfect consistency. That's good too. So, you get your desserts out of the fridge. They won't be completely set, I won't lie. I'm just going to wash my hands. There we go. Dry my hands off. So yeah, as I was saying, your toffee sauce won't be completely set, but you don't need to worry about that. Hopefully, this should set. It should be set enough. Oh, see, I knew this bit was going to be messy. Should be set enough that you should still have your layers. So you just gotta try not to smush your layers around too much. Just kind of gotta let it drip off the spoon in just the right way. Now, I'll show you why I washed my hands in a minute. I mean, for starters, COVID, you gotta keep up with that hygiene. But also, I've got a bit of biscuit in it and I don't want it ruining the overall look. But yeah, if you want to neaten it up a bit, just get a clean finger and just sort of run it round the sides. It's about, whoa, I didn't realise that big dollop there. Oh dear. So, cleaned it up the best I can. I'm just gonna use my finger just to push some sauce down there because it's not looking overly even. There we go. So, got it pretty pretty neat, like so. I mean, obviously a little bit messy on the side. Just gonna. Would advise washing your hands between topping desserts, because otherwise you'll get gross and sticky and no one wants that. So pop that on there. So then you do the next one. Try and get this a little closer so you can see. And you've got to work fairly quick with the chocolate and marshmallow topping, because it is slowly but surely starting to set, although that is sort of helping to not mix it with the toffee sauce underneath, because they both have quite a sort of gelatinousy texture. Oh dear, there we go. I'll be cleaning that up in a sec. Just hope I haven't put more sauce on one than the other. A little bit of a OCD perfectionist in some cases. Smooth that out. I know, I'll give it a little spiral in the middle. And this one can be mine. So, just gonna eye them out. Yeah, I'd say they were pretty even. A little tap. So, I'm not going to leave that there. Put that there. I've got some spare marshmallow chocolate sauce. Try and think of a way not to waste it. Might have a ginger biscuit and spread it on. A little indulgent and decadent, but why not? But yeah, so that's pretty much it. So, you know, the base, simple, straightforward. You bash up some ginger nut biscuits, 4 of them to be precise if you're making it this size. Obviously, if your containers are bigger, you'd obviously need more ginger biscuits. Then obviously, in terms of the butter, yet again, bigger container, you might not have the same problem I had where I put too much butter in. But yeah, I'd advise for something this size, maybe 30 grams of butter. If you're going for something a bit bigger, obviously the 40, maybe 50 grams of butter would be fine. Then once that's done, obviously the sauce, pretty straightforward. Put in a pan, low heat, and then you add your butter and your sugar, and sorry, and then heat it up on low heat until it becomes sort of like a paste, almost like applesauce. Then add 300 ml of cream and stir it until it's nice and golden. Obviously, depending on the sugar you use will depend on how sort of brown your sauce goes. Obviously, I use light sugar, so it's quite light in colour. Still tastes good. It's amazingly good. Salt in it, I would salt to taste. I know I advise like half a teaspoon, quarter of a teaspoon to half a teaspoon, but salt to taste. Some people like it a little saltier, some don't. Perfectly fine. Everyone has their own preference. But but yeah, and then you cook it, and you turn it up onto high heat, but I would advise once it starts to froth, turn it back onto a low heat, if not off, because you could end up like me and have it overflow the pan and have to stop what you're doing and clean everything. Oh, fun. So once that's done, obviously, yeah, pour it on, onto your dessert once the bases are set, and obviously once the sauce is cooled. Am I missing something? Ah, yes. Any leftover, which with this recipe, if you're only making them this small, you will have excess sauce, which isn't a bad thing. You can always use it for something else. You can dribble it on ice cream, pancakes. It's just been pancake day. So, you know, next year, it's good sauce. Also, just a little tip for pancake day. Banana blueberry pancakes with Biscoff spread on it, delish, with a bit of squirty cream. Oh, tastiest thing I've ever eaten in my life. Sorry, a little bit of an anecdote, but it's a top tip for next pancake day. But yeah, once you've done all those steps, you then move on to your chocolate topping, which is basically a bar of chocolate. I use 100 grams. My advice is maybe use 125 grams because obviously I had to add a little bit of cream just because the marshmallow made it a little too gelatinous. But all in all, it worked out just fine. It's, like I said, like a cake, just add a bit of moisture if needed. But yeah, obviously if you're doing a bigger dessert than this, you will probably maybe need about 200 grams of chocolate, give or take, and maybe 10-12 marshmallows. So, but yeah, I think they turned out brilliant. Can't wait till they're all ready and I can eat them with my mum. But to go along with them, I shall be, in the next part of this video, showing you how to cook my, get this right, my mushroom, creamy cheesy mushroom and chicken pasta. So stay tuned.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and follow me on my social media. And stay tuned for part 2 of this video. Thanks. Bye.